Hey everyone, it's Monique, your clear communication coach, and today I want to talk to you about creating personal accountability and responsibility in your children. And this is really geared towards parents who have kids between the ages of 8 and I'd say about 18. Because before that, it's kind of too young, it's too early. They're learning how to walk and talk and things like that. So there are strategies, but when it comes to 8 and 18, that gap or that window, I want to talk to you about those two communication elements, creating personal accountability and creating responsibility. We don't usually hear people talk about this. We're not taught in school when it comes to communications about this. Communications is really focused on public speaking, English language arts. But when we focus on communications, leadership, decision making, personal accountability, responsibility, resilience, these are all elements within the communications toolkit that make up an individual's character interpersonally and how they show up in the world interpersonally. So I don't know about you, but there are often situations where we find adults who are constantly reliant on their parents to provide for them, to take care of them. And I'm not talking about a situation where you're falling on hard times and your parents are stepping in. I'm talking about a consistent, repeated effort, almost like an inability to take responsibility and an inability to move with effective decision making through no fault of their own. This is not about judgment here, guys. I want you to think about when someone is going to the Olympics, they don't just wake up one day and they compete in the race the next day. I want you to think about that, and I want you to take that same thought and place it into taking responsibility, being resilient, and making effective decision making. So if you haven't given your child a chance to make effective decisions at home, where would they have gotten that training? Where would they have gotten that exposure in order for them to make those effective decisions when they are now an adult? When you are at home, look for age-appropriate ways and activities for you to allow your children to make decisions and act on them, right? So for example, it could be something as simple as coming up with where you're going for vacation. Everyone can decide, and you can designate a child in your home to make the decision about, okay, out of this list, you get to pick where we're going to go, and then act on it, especially when it comes to young men. I have a very special, unique place in my heart for young men because I see so many times where we have young men who are now leading homes, but they haven't been given the opportunity to practice and develop leadership skills in the home. But then they're now expected to show up as a man or show up as a leader. So parents, if you want to develop leadership skills, especially in your young boys, because you want them to show up and be able to lead effectively, start looking for ways to include them in your decision-making process. It can be something about where we're going to eat. It could be something about where we're going for vacation. It can be about many different things, but you want to make sure that you provide that space and that opportunity for your children to make decisions. And the most important part of that is getting them to see you act on that decision. I guarantee you that this portion is very effective because once your child sees that, wow, everybody in my household actually listened to me. Oh, they now feel a confidence that they can make a decision and people can follow it. So they have that experience of being a leader at home. I want you to think about other areas where you can give responsibility to your children when you're interacting with other people. So for example, if you like to eat out, like I do, sometimes you can take your child, if they are a preteen, you can give them a certain amount of money, and let's say they're going to a Subway store. Give them a list. Give them a list of the order for you and everyone else in the family, and either stand outside of the Subway door Or if that's too much for you, you can sit inside, but sit by the table and allow your child to go to the counter and put in an order. It might feel uncomfortable at first, and who cares if people in the line feel like, oh, this kid is taking too long. It doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're building opportunities for them to exhibit personal accountability and personal responsibility. Of course, this fluctuates depending on the age, and you'll give different assignments and activities for your child to complete. But begin to put those things in place now so that when they are ready to leave, they have an opportunity to enhance the quality of their relationships because they've already been given a foundation and tools to practice.